Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Action Popcast for another episode of Real Impact. Apologies for the slightly tardy start, but a member of Kat's family today decided to break her earphones, so we had technical issues. But it's not a show about technical issues. So, before we get into saying hello to the audience, those in attendance this evening who have kindly joined us, I want to first of all go over to my co-host here, the young Lady Cat, and say, how are you doing this evening, mate? How's life? How's things? How you rocking?
I'd love to say I'm peachy, but I've had a rough day. My pain has been really bad. We're supposed to get hit with like negative 30 degrees this weekend, so it's doing what it does, but I am so excited to talk about this movie, and I hope everybody else does or is excited, so ready to have a good time now.
So before we get into speaking to chat, we'll do that in a second.
Yeah.
I think everyone's figured it out, but in case they haven't, do you want to tell people the film we're doing, why you've picked this film? Just brief explanation and just, sell it, baby. That was awful. I'm never saying that again. What's wrong with me?
No. Anyway, we're doing Galaxy Quest from 1999. I love this movie. As soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it. It holds up. We're going to get all into it, but it's just, how can you not love this movie if you've watched it? The only reason you should say I don't like it is because you've never watched it. As soon as you like it, you'll be on my side and you're going to love it. So, yes, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, I got to say, hands up, I hadn't actually watched this movie, and Kat was like, what? So I've never seen it. And I'm going to be honest, it was on my radar, because the second you said it to me, I went, what, the one with Sigourney Weaver and Alan Rickman? You were like, yeah, that one. I was like, well, I don't know if it's my sort of thing, because I thought it was just going to... The problem was, around 99, we had all these terrible... Like, don't get me wrong, Scary Movie was good, but every subsequent film was crap, and I just thought this was another one of those sort of films, so I just brushed by it, and I've had to watch it. Well, I enjoyed watching it. I've watched it now 2.5 times, because I started again tonight with Jax.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy it. I wish I'd have seen it sooner. But anyway, we're there. We got there in the end. You've found a new movie that I absolutely love. So
Awesome.
What more can I say? So, shall we say hello to the chat now, Kat?
Yeah, I'm already mad at people in the chat, though. I see some comments I'm going to have to highlight.
Well, once I've gone through the chat, you have full control of the comments tonight, because and the slides, because we know I forget to bring stuff up. We know I never bring comments up because I'm rubbish. So, First of all, the first person this evening, super early, was Rolando. So good evening, Rolando. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Hello,
we were also joined by Zombie Hunter. Good to see you. Mr. Keith Knight. Hello, Keith. Hello, Uncle Keith. Good to see you. Jojo. Good to see Jojo. I saw Jojo today. I gave her a big hug and I picked her up and she's like, ow, you hurt me. I was like, oh, what? I didn't mean to.
Jeez.
Yeah. Then she told me she was making it out to be like really bad, and it wasn't. So she knows how to wind me up. We've also been joined by Kieran Ball saying hello, Kat, Nick, Rolando, Zombie, everyone, Jojo. Who else have we got in? We have been joined by the young Lady Steph. She is saying, hey, everyone. Hey, Steph, good to see you this evening. I've got a new mouse, and I swear the roller wheel on it works the opposite way round to my last one. So that's a little bit frustrating. I'll have to change that in settings later. We've also been joined by Emma C. She says, evening all. Hello, Emma. I know she watched this film especially. Her other half is a fan of this film and was like, what? And they've watched it now, so together. So that's always good. God, this mouse is doing my head in. We've also been joined by Mr. B. And we've also been joined by Mr. B. Oh, we're not going to go. If you saw the last lame, you'll understand that. Poor Mr. B's like, no, don't start that again. We've also been joined by Jumpy McClunky saying good evening to everyone. And reading movies. Hello, Lewis. Good to see you, man. Thank you for coming along this evening. I bet you this is a firm favourite of his. I just get the feeling.
He did say he liked it. I saw a comment. Said he liked it.
Excellent. Well, we'll try and do it justice. And somehow he has returned. Pod Racing Palpatine has joined us this evening. Good to see you, Palps. Always good to have Palps in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Ubaldo. I do it up Ubaldo. Cat, I can't read for toffee. Ubaldo.
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 Sorry,
Yep.
sorry, Ubaldo. I'm just terrible at reading. I've got the reading age of a 3-year-old, so don't hold it against me. But thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. We said hello to Zombie, didn't we? I'm sure we did.
I don't think so.
Well, if we didn't, hello, Zombie Hunter. You get a second hello.
Right.
A very important one here. Big fan. One of our new super spanners, Martin, from a long time ago. He has unlimited power now. Well, minor power, but he's here. He said hello to everyone. We've also been joined by Delvian Seek. Good evening, Delvian. Good to see you. Just check in, see we haven't missed it. I think that's everyone for now. As anyone else comes in, we will, of course, say hello. And it's telling me there's more people in here than there's more people in here than I've commented. So if you're in, just say hello. We don't bite. I promise we don't bite. So, yeah. So, yeah. Galaxy Quest from 1999, Cat. What a movie. So, I guess the first question I'm going to throw out, did you see this in 99 when it was released, or did you catch it later on home video release? Or no, when did you see it?
We went to the movie theaters and saw it. So, growing up, it was mostly a Star Wars household, but I remember going to see, Trek movies. Like, I only remember seeing First Contact, and I was like, bored to death with it.
What? I loved that film.
Yeah, but I'm not, back then, like, I couldn't stand it. I hated it, whatever. Like, now I can enjoy some of it. Not the original. That's still horrible. But anyway, but no, I remember we saw it, and we just, from start to finish, we were just laughing up at it. And I was like, I got to get this movie when it comes out. And I got it on VHS when it came out. Like, I absolutely just loved this movie. So it was a lot of fun.
No, it's like I say, it's an excellent movie. The first time I watched it was, a week or two ago, a couple of weeks ago, and blown away by it. The movie was released in 1999. I think the way I've heard this referred to several times from documentary stuff I read online is this is a love letter to the fans of sci-fi, fans of the likes of Star Trek primarily. It's not taking the mick out of people. It's almost celebrating our weird and quirkiness. Would you agree with that, Kat?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Although, I will be the first to admit, because I had such a hatred for Trek back then, is I kept saying, it's nothing like Star Trek. It's nothing. Don't say that. I was like, I can't love Star Trek. Like, I was really upset by it. But I mean, it's obvious that it does have like it does it really well with Star Trek in mind. So
well, what I'm going to jump into one of the little facts I had early. Then, do you know, right before we go into all the details we normally do, at one point, party like it's 1999. So it's so weird to me. The comments are popping up. I thought I was hitting my mouse. I remembered you're in control. This movie was at a Star Trek convention in Vegas. I don't remember the exact year. Was actually, and I saw this on Wikipedia and a couple of sources online, was voted as the 7th best Star Trek movie of all time. That's how highly.
Yeah.
But what we call I don't want to offend Star Trek fans, because I'm a casual Star Trek. Trekkies. Is Trekkies the right word? Yeah,
Trekkies are Star Trek fans. Yeah. Trekkies.
Yeah, because you don't want to get it wrong. I've seen all the films. I've dipped in and out over the years. I'm not a die-hard fan of it, but I do enjoy it when I watch it. But yeah, this is how this movie resonated with the fans. They rated it as the 7th best Star Trek film of all time.
Well, it kind of diving into that a little bit is, it's rare to have cast members like a parody of something because of how it's done. And there's been several cast members that just rave about this, and they, laugh from start to finish. Like, they absolutely just loved it, so that says a lot too about it.
Unmute yourself, Nicholas. Yeah, I try to mute myself now when I vape, because it sounds like Darth Vader having an asthma attack otherwise. So this movie, it was directed by a chap called Dean, and I've broke down the spelling if it was a Parasot, a huge Star Trek fan. Before we go too much into him being the director of the movie, did you know, Kat, I'm sure you did because you've done your research, Harold Ramis was the original director of this movie. So Harold Ramis, the Ghostbuster, Egon, many films he did. He left the project because he initially wanted Alec Baldwin or Steve Martin or Kevin Kline to play the lead role of Jason Nesmith, but the studio didn't want that. I've heard some conflicting information online. Some people say that it was they turned the roles down. Other people say it was purely down to the studio saying, nope, we don't want them. So he stepped away from the film because he didn't think that Tim Allen, who went on to play the lead in this film, he originally didn't think he'd suit it. But in some interviews, he said he didn't feel with Tim Allen's style of acting, that he could deliver a good movie for him. Is it our mummy duty's coming in?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. This is a live show. You are a mum. You have a kid at home, and the difference for me is my kid's in bed because it's like nearly 9 o'clock at night, and for you it's nearly 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a bit different, isn't it? So
it is a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, Harold Ramis was originally down for this, but we got Dean Parisot. So what I do now, Kat, is because I'm so terrible at reading, I break them down into like syllables. So that's how I help myself.
Yeah, you have to. Being dyslexic, you have to. So I get it. I do the same thing. It's all good.
Yeah, it's really it's really difficult to between that and not wearing glasses. I have a hell of a time on these shows. But yeah, films that Mr. Parisot was known for: Home Fries in 1998, Fun with Dick and Jane in 2005, and more recently Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I'm yet to see, but I have been told by people or you're shaking your head. Was it terrible?
No, I just haven't seen it yet. I just meant.
Okay. No. So yeah, it was directed by that chap. Big, as I've already said, big Star Trek fan, huge Star Trek fan, and I think you can tell. He knew. It's got the look, it's got the feel, hasn't it? He got it together really well. Let me jump down to my video. Sorry, this mouse. Oh, this mouse. I swear the wheel is the opposite way around. It's doing my head in. So sorry, guys. I've have to pause a few times and I have to remember to roll the opposite way. Yeah. So the writers of this movie, rather, David Howard and Robert Gordon. David Howard. Apparently, he was inspired to do this movie because he went to an IMAX cinema and he saw a trailer for another sci-fi movie, and it had a voiceover narration from Leonard Nimoy, and it sort of kicked him into thinking, well, a lot of these guys, they fight not to be typecast, they're stuck in these roles, and he got to thinking, well, what would happen if the guys from this film were actually, hey Smith Lord, good to see you. What would happen if the actors from like Star Trek and that were actually faced with a real life adventure? They did have to go into space, and that's very much what this film is. So yeah, the other writer was also Robert Gordon. Robert Gordon's known for screenplays like Addicted to Love, Series of Unfortunate Events, Men in Black 2, to name a few. I hope I haven't just read the wrong list of films out there, but I'm jumping all over the place. It looks like they're Communicator, but this is terrible. And of course, I've already said it was released in 1999. For you folks in the States, it was actually released December 25th. It says December 25th, 1999. And I see that often. Is that a thing in America? Films coming out on Christmas Day? It might happen in the UK, but...
We go to the film a lot on Christmas Day, so it's not very out of the ordinary. I don't remember it being Christmas, so we would wait a little bit after it's come out, so it's not as crowded. But yeah, that's a thing.
All right, Christmas Day. All I want to do is get up and get straight on the Bucks Fizz and the Bailey's coffees. I gotta be honest, I'd be in no state to go to the movies. We didn't get it in the UK though until 31st of March in 2000, so we were a little bit behind. And And also, it's worth noting this film came out in the same year as films such as The Phantom Menace, The Matrix, and The Mummy, just to name a few. So it was a good year for cinema, and it had a budget of $45 million. $45 million. I've not adjusted that for modern times. That's what it was. And what I find quite remarkable about it is the first week this film just basically didn't do bugger all. It didn't do anything. They thought it was an absolute flop. DreamWorks, who are the production company, released trailers and things with unfinished CGI. They didn't think it was going to be a good movie. They didn't really push it. Well, whatever happened, word got out there that it was a good movie, and for the next 3 or so weeks, the movie gained momentum and it managed to double its production, and it grossed at the box office 90 million worldwide. So it redeemed itself, and it was also up against it's the film it was battling at the time was Stuart Little.
I thought it was Rugrats.
It was around the same time as Rugrats. So the reason, you are right, but the main rival for it at the cinema was Stuart Little.
Okay.
But this film is a PG rating, or PG for us. Is it PG for you in the States? You have PG, don't you? But originally this film, the first cut of it was an R rating because there was so much swearing in it. And what they did, because they didn't want films like Rugrats and Stuart Little to blow it out of the water, they took all the swearing out of it. So there's a fantastic scene in the film, and I checked for this last night. And you know when they've got those big metal like hammers coming down and crushing back and forth?
Chompers.
The chompers, that's it. What is it Sigourney Weaver says? Is it what the hell or something? But actually you hear what the hell.
Oh, it's screw that.
Oh, screw that. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's
I think it's screw that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You are right. Sorry, I was looking for it and I couldn't see it. Thank you, Kat, for correcting me. Screw that. But the original line is F that. And if you actually look at her lips, you can clearly see her say F that.
Yeah.
So they, pretty good, really. As I said already, DreamWorks were the production company. That's Steven Spielberg's company. And they were disappointed in it initially, but they weren't when it started to make the money. So what's Jumpy saying? Can't even say for sure I've seen all this film. Definitely seen some. Aren't they actors playing parts and aliens, and they're real people in space, real space people? Yeah, pretty much, Jumpy. So in a moment, I will go into a little synopsis of the film for those who haven't seen it or don't quite remember. Spielberg's company, he started DreamWorks with what have I written down here? He founded DreamWorks with Jeffrey Katzenberg and David Geffen, and Spielberg, being a sci-fi guy, was very, he likes his sci-fi, was very interested in this film and would pop up on set quite often, just to, apparently he said, to boost morale. Part of me thinks it was to say, don't mess this up. This is costing me $45 million. I love it when they say stuff like, oh yeah, Spielberg was on set to boost the morale of the cast. Like, this is the boss.
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's not boosting nothing. He's making sure they did his name right.
I'm just looking at Smith Lord's comment here. What's it? What's cinema, Nick? Do you mean cinema? Yeah, I can't speak, Chris. If I've got the reading age of a 3-year-old, what do you think my speaking age is? You normally add a year, don't you? So, I was already said, the original cut of this film was an R rating. They got it down to a PG for the reasons we've already stated. And something that I would urge everyone to do, not right now, not right this moment, but after the stream, there's a fantastic mockumentary, and it was done by the channel E. And they filmed it. Well, we know what a mockumentary is. It's all the actors playing it off, and it was done as a promotion for this film. Very funny, very worth a watch, very meta things in it. I watched it last night. It's good. So please do go and check that out after this. So, yeah. Do you want me to give my pre-written synopsis, Kat, or do you want to explain it? It's up to you.
You can. Go right ahead. Don't matter.
Yeah, all right. So, the cast of a cancelled sci-fi TV show is unwittingly recruited by real aliens who believe the show's adventures are historical documents. With the fate of an alien race in their hands, they must rise to the occasion as real-life heroes. I think that sums it up exactly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well done. Good job.
So, and I always say, I'm not trying to do all the talking tonight. Kat won't mind me saying this. Kat's having trouble tonight with a bit of pain in her jaw, so I'm trying to get through these bits and save the poor lady, so she's good for later in the show. But I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Why do you think this film resonated so much with sci-fi fans? What do you think it was?
I mean, we've had a lot of like spoof movies and stuff like that, right? Over stuff. Some are really bad, some are really good. Parts of it, you're like, oh, that's not great, whatever. This, I feel like just start to finish, hits the nail on the head. Like they don't miss a mark whatsoever on it. It's also family friendly, so you don't have to worry about that, which was a big thing. Especially like in the 90s and stuff like that. That was huge for us trying to find something like that. But I mean, sci-fi, action, comedy, it's all rolled up into one and it's just tastefully done. I think that's why it kind of just has stuck around and made such an impact with us. Because we can, even though I was mostly Star Wars growing up, I could see Star Wars fans in this, you know, and how they react at conventions, and being myself at a convention, stuff like that, and how you know, we want the crew, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like I've been there for those kind of moments. Like, so it's very relatable in a lot of stuff, and, you know, that things could happen, or, you know, that we want to happen. We want our characters to be real in it, for it to really, they need our help. But that's what I think.
Absolutely. And you saying Star Wars, what's the one thing we do in every show? I try and find a link. It's never normally hard to, because everything we have said before goes back to Star Wars, doesn't it? You never escape Star Wars. I found one. It's right in your face, but I found it. So, Ralph Brown, who played Guy Fleegman in the movie, also portrayed Rick Olay, the pilot of Queen Amidala's ship in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So there we go. We got our Star Wars link in.
Sweet.
Comes to something when this actually becomes part of the show where I'm like, each one I do now, I'm like, right, I've got to find a Star Wars link now. Some of them are really obvious. But yeah, of course, this came out in the same year. So, you know, what a year for space. So, cast and crew. I'm not going to go into the names of their names on the Galaxy credits. It will just get too confusing. But Tim Allen as Jason Nesmith, I will say it once actually, and that's Commander Peter Quincy Taggart. So Tim Allen's Jason Nesmith. As I think I've already said, no, I didn't already say this. Tim Allen is a massive sci-fi guy, huge sci-fi guy, collects props from sci-fi films. He lives and breathes this. He wanted this film so bad, and great choice for it. There's even a funny story that he actually had a part of the Nostromo, and he was bugging the hell out of Sigourney Weaver to sign it. And when she eventually signed it, I think she wrote something on it like "stolen by Tim Allen," and he was a bit annoyed because he
loves Sigourney on it. Yep, he did.
So awesome. And another interesting thing is Tim Allen actually left the role of Andrew the Android from the film Bicentennial Man to do this film.
That's right. Yeah,
and of course,
about that.
Robin Williams went on to play Andrew in that film. And I think I've read somewhere that Robin Williams at one point may have even been suggested to play Jason Nesmith in this film. So, I don't know,
it would have had such a different feel to that. Just like I couldn't picture him as Bicentennial Man. You know what I mean? If the roles were reversed, like, I don't know if they would have done as well having... No. I don't know. It's just so perfectly cast to me. Right, but I'm saying, so it's just so perfectly cast for this movie and that. So I don't know. I couldn't picture anybody else but Tim Allen in this role.
I think fate steps in sometimes, doesn't it? And goes, you're for this one, you're for this one, and this is how it's going to be. Because I've got to be honest with you, Bicentennial Man, the stream isn't about that. But anyone who hasn't seen it, definitely worth a what.
Yeah.
It's quite a tear. It's a bit of a tearjerker. It pulls at the old
Itching the
heartstrings.
feels. Yes.
Does. It
Yes, it
does. And Tim Allen also did say that when he got the original script, he felt that it was more sort of in line with Spaceballs, and they believed the influence of that was because of Harold Ramis's prior involvement with the movie, and because that was sort of the vision Harold Ramis had for the film, a sort of Spaceballs-esque film, so that's what he went with. But of course, DreamWorks massively pushed for rewrites on this, and they did. The original script doesn't resemble what we got, and thankfully it doesn't, because it would have been a very different movie. And another cool fact, and I love this, I found this out. You know the scene in the movie where he goes to the loo at the convention and he hears the fans taking the piss out of him, saying that his castmates hate him, and look at all these people dressed up like knobs and all that. Well, basically, that is taken from something William Shatner told people. It was in the mid-'80s. He was at a Star Trek convention, went to the loos, went in a cubicle, and he heard a very similar conversation. So again, quite meta. They've pulled these things in. And
you know what I find funny about that is, when you listen or you look up articles about him talking about this movie, he'll even say, oh, Tim Allen's nothing like me. Like, he's nothing like Shatner, you know, or I was Kirk or whatever, right? He and everybody else is like, oh yeah, no, that's you. And he's like, no. He tries to deny it, but you can see with this tucking and rolling all the time, you know, on that alien planet and that kind of stuff. Like, you could totally see Shatner's influence in that for sure. But I think 100%. It's funny that he tries to deny 100%. It. Or with always his shirt off.
There are a couple of comments I'm skipping by, not because they're not good comments and I don't appreciate them. It's because we'll probably get to those things later on. Although I do like what Delvian said. I think I had low expectations of this film before I watched. Was very happy to be wrong about it. Kat, I'm going to level with you, and Emma C will tell you this. When you picked this film, I was hey, what's up, Pete? How you doing? I was chatting with Emma, and I said, look, Kat really wants to do this film. I've got to be honest. I think it's probably shit, but she likes it, so. I don't care if it's not something that I don't think's going to appeal to me. I will always go at it as hard as won't let you down, because you work just as hard for me. And how wrong was I? And that was a case of believing something wrong about it being, one of those sort of shit parody films, and then also judging a book by its cover. Because if you've only seen like the DVD cover or the video cover of this film, it's cheese personified. And I think it was Jojo said to me today, she likes her sci-fi how she likes her pizzas, loaded with cheese.
Right, exactly. Jojo gets it. Thank you, Jojo. Yeah.
Jojo gets it. What doesn't Jojo get? But I will read this one by Palps, because it's gonna come up at some point. Grabfuzz Hammer. Grabfuzz Hammer. His delivery at the supermarket opening is amazing. You can literally see his soul leave his body. Yep. Alan Rickman in this movie. And Alan Rickman, I believe, is the next person I'm going to go down to. I just want to say before we go on, Tim Allen, obviously known for Home Improvements from 91 to 99. I used to watch that all the time as a kid on Disney Channel. The Santa Claus movies, Toy Story series. He's done other stuff. They're the big hitters. Of course, Tim Allen is Buzz Lightyear. So, to infinity and beyond.
Exactly. Never give up, never surrender.
Yeah. So going down, I said I'll go now. I'm jumping past Sigourney. I'll go back to. So as we've brought up this comment about Alan Rickman, we have to go into Alan Rickman as Alexander Dane / Dr. Lazarus. Martin from a long time ago, when I chatted to him the other week about this, he said for him, Alan Rickman steals the show. Like it's his absolute favorite character in the film. And I mean, I love Alan Rickman anyway, because for me, he's Snape first and I know most people will go Die Hard and they'll go Hans Gruber, but for me it's Snape because I
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
No, carry on, mate. Carry on.
I was just gonna say it's Robin Hood. He's the sheriff.
Sheriff Nottingham. Yeah,
that's that. And then so I grew up watching him on that, and then because I don't watch Harry Potter, but and then also Quigley Down Under. He was the bad guy in Australia. Like so, he's an amazing baddie, but to see him in a good guy role, like I absolutely loved it. And I'm kind of cheesy because I love all the characters because there's so much development with all of them, but he is just like you said that with Palp's quote on that with the store, the disdain he has for saying that and hearing it from the fans, like it's amazing. It's amazing.
He's soul crushed. You can see it, and it's like the moment when he's trying to run from the first convention, and Tim Allen says to him, Jason Nesmith, "The show must go on." He's like, "Damn that line." So of course, back to the films quickly. Yeah, just a few because we could go for hours with this. That I always pick the top ones: Die Hard, Hans Gruber, Harry Potter series, Snape. Yeah. I love the Harry Potter books because audio tapes meant I could actually hear them all. The Harry Potter films, love it. Dogma, the Metatron. I know it's not his biggest role, but I love Kevin Smith movies, so I was never going to get I was never not going to bring up the Metatron. And yeah, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the second film I ever saw at the cinema, The Sheriff of Nottingham. So, and I had an interesting fact for Tim Allen, the Shatner experience, what happened to him. Now, the scene in the film just before he runs out the door when he accuses Nesmith of stealing his best lines and cutting him out of episodes and stuff. Now, let me read how I put this so I word it nicely.
Okay.
Yeah. Supposedly, that was the sort of behaviour, allegedly, was the type of behaviour that William Shatner used to have on the original Star Trek, stealing lines off people and insisting people be cut out of episodes. It's all allegedly. But that because of that, they wrote this into this film. So
wasn't it also the line where he's going up to her and he's all, he's quoting to her and she's all like, yeah, it was great when I heard it back then. But then it's something about like him sleeping with all the slave girls on there, or the aliens. That I think that was also a thing with Shatner and stuff too. So I think that was another little jab. But you can't look at him and then look at Shatner and not think the similarities. Obviously, he's going to deny it, but we all know, especially the people that work with it. What's the dude that does the oh my Sulu or whatever his name is?
I think so.
But he's all like, oh my gosh. He goes, you don't understand like how on the nose it is. He goes, he can deny all he wants. He goes, that's it. It's him. So it's there.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I have to say I think so. I have dipped in and out of Star Trek. Hey, Stu, Universal Toy Collector. Good to see you. I know you're busy this evening, sir. So thank you for popping in. And also Ricardo said that he's listening to the conversation, but working on some paperwork. So thanks for popping along, Ricardo.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. As I said, I've always been very casual with my Star Trek. And if anything, I probably know more about TNG, The Next Generation, a lot more than I know about the original series, because The Next Generation is what I watched as a kid. What's the pukey sign at? TNG or the original?
I can't.
Do you want to just some people may not know. Can we just tell people why you're making the pukey noise? It's one reason.
I hate Shatner with a passion. I cannot stand that man.
Watch the audience disappear.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll take it. That's fine. They can send hate comments my way. That's fine. But so this is like, you would see it and stuff from like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And then I was older. We went over to a friend's house for dinner and she was so excited. She goes, look what I got. When we were still getting DVDs from Netflix, they're like, look what I got on DVD. And I was like, what is it? And she's all like, the original Star Trek. And I'm like, yay. Like I wanted to die. Like I was literally thinking of ways to like go home. I'm like, how do I excuse myself from here? It's horrible. And then it was that episode where the alien takes over this guy's wife and they were like, it needed salt, and so it kept like sucking the salt out of the people, and my mom kept going, "Oh, help me, I'm being assaulted, mother." Like it was a lot. I can't stand it. Hate Kirk. Die. Hate it. TGN, that's Next Generation, that's not bad. Voyager, Deep Space, I can stand all that, but not original. No, thank you.
No, well, for me,
That's
I've always preferred. I've seen the original films over the years. My dad always used to have them on. The Next Generation films, I've seen all of those. Saw them at the cinema. Enjoyed those. I prefer. I like the TV show, but I'd sort of prefer the films. I think maybe I don't have the attention span or at least I didn't for TV series. And I'm more a get it in, get it done, get out sort of thing. DS9 for the win. Deep Space Nine. Get in there, Martin Long is going for it. Cat's gagging sounds are hilarious. Moving on swiftly.
9.
So,
Yeah.
But another interesting thing about Alexander Dane, or Alan Rickman's character Alexander Dane, was they originally wanted him to turn out to be the bad guy of the movie, but DreamWorks did not like this. Thankfully, they didn't change it because. Thankfully, they did change it. Should I say?
Yeah, no, it would. I couldn't imagine him being the bad guy in it. Like, it would completely just. I think it would derail it. To take it off to another spot that you wouldn't want it to. So the way they have it now, definitely the way to go with it.
It would have been a plot twist, but it equally would have lent into the one thing that the film's going on about people being typecast and that, because Rickman and his bad guy roles. So there's that as well. So Alan Rickman, what's Ghosty saying here? If he was going to be the bad guy, it probably would have been a parody of Khan. Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
More than likely. But yeah, we're all in agreement. I think Alan Rickman, the late great Alan Rickman, was excellent in this movie. And so I think we should probably go to although she's not a real blonde, the blonde bombshell of this movie, Gwen DeMarco, as played by Sigourney Weaver, or the character she played in the Galaxy Quest series, Lieutenant Tawny Madison. Wow, I love Sigourney Weaver.
I love her in this, and I love how she was talking about how, for her, when she put on that blonde wig, she turned into something totally different. And she totally just
she said in one interview that her IQ dropped by 20% or something every time she put the wig on.
Yeah, but she just fell into it so much, and you could tell she was just having so much fun because she was so different from her Riley character, and she just. I think it was a great part for her, honestly, with it.
Well, yeah, one of the reasons, there's a couple of reasons Sigourney wanted this. Did I say I absolutely love Sigourney Weaver? She's a fantastic actress.
Yes.
What's Reader Move say? Totally agree. I dislike Shatner, and the reason why I don't like the original Star Trek series and most of the movies. Fair is fair. Kat, you've got someone on your side, mate.
I know. Yay.
I'm indifferent to it. I'm Switzerland on this one, mate. It doesn't really bother me. So, it's got to be. What's TGC say? Nick, make sure you send my suggestions to MSC after the right. Okay, yep. Okay. It's nothing bad, Em. It's not. I don't know. Actually, it's nothing bad. It's to do with the bin incident. Anyway, moving on. So Sigourney, she said in an interview, she said that she felt this film had a feel of The Wizard of Oz about it, in as much as not because of the story, but because how the characters were like undeveloped at the start and how they matured into their roles and sort of defined who they were as the film. By the end of the film, they were more complex characters. They'd been through a journey.
Exactly.
So that's what Sigourney felt. Excuse me one moment. I need to cough.
Okay, no worries. Might drink something so you don't die.
Well, I've just run out of liquid, so in a minute I might say to you, you're gonna have to hold the fort while I run up and get a drink. But we'll try not to. We'll try not to. And the other thing, Sigourney Weaver really wanted this role, and she actually had to fight
Yes.
for it. They didn't want to cast her at first, and
Uh-uh.
Sigourney Weaver was like, they said they didn't want sci-fi people for this film, and she was like, what the hell? You want to do a film about people who become typecast and trapped in certain roles, and you don't want people who have been in sci-fi films like, you know, Aliens,
Exactly. Yeah.
Alien 3, you know, at the time. And she really fought for it, and she was like, that's ridiculous. And they did give her the role, and it was right to give her the role. Because I don't know if I've already said, I love Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's amazing. See, that's the thing, though. I think because her, you know, this character's so different from Riley. You know, this is a blonde bombshell, basically. You know, and she is nowhere close to that with, and it's kind of like we talked with typecasting and stuff like that. She's kind
Nothing
of
like
held
Ripley
in
at
there.
all. Nothing like
And then,
Ripley.
you know,
I mean,
for her to go with that, so they were, you know, a little afraid with that. But I don't, again, what I said with Timon and stuff and everybody else is, I don't see anybody else playing her as well. You know, so
no,
they
not
definitely made
at
the right
all.
choice with her. Mhm.
I mean, do I need to go into Sigourney's main movies, the Alien series, Ghostbusters, Avatar? There's just a few. She's done loads of films.
Yeah.
It would go on all night. We've already done Alan Rickman. So I'm going to struggle to say his name. Tony Shalhoub as Fred Kwan. Tech Sergeant Chen.
Monk.
Monk. Yeah,
It's
known
Monk.
for Monk. Men in Black. Was in Men in Black as well. Yeah, Tech Sergeant Chen. So should we go... what was the fact? There was a fact that Kieran brought up earlier about him always eating, and that. Do you want to go into that a little bit, Kat?
Yeah, that's fine. So in the original, they had it, and once you know that, so if you've seen it and you kind of see his character is very aloof and not making a big deal of things, like when they land on the alien ship and he's just like, oh, that was a thing, you know, like that was pretty cool, like just very nonchalant about stuff. Well, originally in the beginning is he went to the bathroom and he did some you know, some stuff, some recreational time there, and so he was high the entire movie. So obviously, to cut down so they could make it more family friendly, they had to cut that scene out entirely and everything. But yeah, he's basically high the whole time. So now knowing that and how he is through it, I'm like, oh, because I was like, how does he not care? What is going on? But
as the kids say, when you know, you know, or if you know, you know. I mean, it's heavily implied he likes cigarettes of the herbal variety as well. He's always got the munchies. Yeah. He's always eating.
Well, yeah, he's always eating. He's always eating. That's just another thing. But yeah, everybody else is freaking out, and he's just like, oh, that was a hell of a thing. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, sure.
Absolutely. Okay, I am going to jump back into the comments once we've sort of read off the rest of the cast. Sam Rockwell as Guy Fleegman, known for Moon, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Del Mitchell as Tommy Webber. Lieutenant Laredo, also known for 10 Things I Hate About You. I've seen that film lots of times. My sisters were obsessed with that film. The John Larroquette Show from 93 to 96 as well. Enrico Colantoni as Mafasar. Mafasar's great. The Thermians. They are fantastic. Earlier on my lunch break, I was practicing the squill she did in the car, and I got it. And I don't think I could do it now because I've got no liquid left.
I would love to hear you try and do that.
I almost got it. Yes. Yeah. No. You know, a couple of notable things. Veronica Mars, 2004 to 2019. Just Shoot Me, 97 to 2003. And I'm going to go... I am skimming through these, as we'll spend the rest of the show just chatting about the cast. Yeah. The cast is exceptional, but we've got to motor through to get to the other parts. The late, great Robin Sachs as Saris. And let's look... I've written down some of the stuff that he did in his life. Lots of sci-fi stuff. Prolific sci-fi person. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Babylon 5. Star Trek Voyager. Torchwood Miracle Day. Which actually wasn't that bad as some of the later Torchwoods went. Farscape. Films. Obviously Galaxy Quest. The Lost World, Jurassic Park. That's not even all of it. That's just a brief summary. It's just a brief resume.
Yep.
So yeah, what a fantastic cast. So I'm going to say to you, Kat, we've said to Alan Rickman, you could say he stole the show, but anyone else other than Alan Rickman who stood out the most for you? You can say Alan Rickman if you want. I mean, I sort of said stole the show. I agree with Martin on that, but that might not be the same for you.
It's just because I kind of said it before. It's just I kind of love them all because they all like go through this like huge growth, but especially with just Tim Allen's character, because he's so stuck. He's so like into himself. He's a narcissist. It's all about him. And you see him go through this huge growth and stuff, and actually think about everybody else. Like, I don't know. I really like. I don't know. How can you not like the captain, right? I mean, you're gonna go after. But honestly, I love everybody in the movie. Like, I can't pick one person. Be like, oh, I didn't like his performance at all. Like, they all did amazing with it.
I mean, Keith Knight here saying Alan Rickman was a great character actor. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Always steals the show for me. I get it. I mean, one of the films I listed of his, Dogma, he carried so much gravitas when he walked on set. Like, basically, the way Kevin Smith got Jason Mewes, Jay, to learn his lines was like, don't F around, dude. This is like acting royalty. He's British. You need to learn it. And apparently that put the fear of God in him, and he learned all of his lines start to finish, which is something he never did because he didn't want to be seen around Alan Rickman to be unprofessional. It's Jason Mewes, man. Jason Mewes, who's had quite a colourful life. Right.
Well, that just speaks to the gravity of him as a person, as an actor, and his kind of reputation for things with it. I also think it's pretty cool that he actually helped develop his look, which I think
so I didn't know. I didn't come across that.
Yeah, he actually helped figure it out and stuff, and help set it up and do all of it. So, I mean, you could tell how much he truly loved doing this character and how much fun he had with it.
When I see him with that head prosthetic on, or whatever you would call it, it always reminds well, I say it always, since watching the film, it reminds me sort of the aliens from Alien Nation. Have you ever seen Alien Nation?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not being mean about it. I'm saying he sort of reminds me of the Alien Nation thing.
No, I'm with you on that. I was still on the comment with Zombie. He's being a jerk.
Well, I'll let you two.
No, I'm saying what you
hash that one out.
Yeah.
Palps did bring up something interesting. He says, do you have the version where the aspect ratios changed from the TV movie? Now, the version I watched was just whatever was on Sky Movies. Fortunate, I often have to end up if I don't own it on DVD, I end up generally renting the films on Amazon or whatever and watching them. But this is on Sky Movies in the UK at the moment. Now, it's interesting he says that. The film does change aspect ratios. In the beginning of the film, it's in sort of 4.3. They're showing old classic Galaxy Quest. I can't remember what ratio it is, but the bit when the space doors open and Tim Allen realises he's in space is a different aspect ratio again. And cinemas were getting it wrong. Or the cinemas, for Smith Lord Speaks, we're getting it wrong, or the theatres. And they actually had to start sending out instructions to the movie theatres to tell them what aspect ratios to have the film in at the right times, because they were cropping it all wrong. So there you go.
There you go.
The technical, to be honest with you, I didn't know. Obviously, you notice the 4.3 when it starts. Right. You can see it's like that old thing. But I didn't notice that watching it on the Sky version. But
you notice it more. And I have the DVD version, and you can totally see it more on the DVD version. So I think maybe that's probably why.
To be honest with you, the version on Sky, if any of you guys watching this have got Sky Movies, you can watch it. But I will warn you, like, when you finish watching the film, turn your TV down, because the sound on it, you know when you get a real crap sound on it and you have to really crank the speakers? I shit myself the other night because I turned off the movie and like this advert just blared at me. I was like, what is going on here? To put it bluntly. So there's a warning for you. Thank me later. So yeah, the music of this film, composed by David Newman, scored The Mighty Ducks, Anastasia, Frankenweenie, Coneheads. basically, what I wanted to say about this film is, and its score, or rather the score of the film, it doesn't rip off Star Trek, but it's not Star. You can totally hear what they're going for. I think you can.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, if it's harder for me to pick it up just because I wasn't a Star Trek fan, but having listened to a few more of them and this movie, you can tell they interweaved it a little bit, and they were pulling from it, which I think is honestly smart to do with it.
Yeah, because the score does enhance the movie. It does give you that sort of old sci-fi feel. It's very well done. Very well thought out. It's not just crap. They capture it all right, and I'm very, very happy with that. So let's get into it a little bit. The aliens, the Thermians.
Love them.
So tell me what you love the most about them.
What is that?
The ship is this big? Deception.
What is that?
I can't do the Thermian voice, but so good.
I love it. And I think this is actually Rainn Wilson, who played Dwight in our version of The Office. I think this was his first movie. But
it was,
like all of them, how can you not love them? They're so like innocent and childlike and just silly, but it was done in a good way. It wasn't like too like, oh my gosh, they're so ridiculous. They were just very like the opposite of Saris, very innocent. You could see how he could dominate over them, and they can't stand up for themselves. And
let's show the Thermians here.
Yeah.
Before we forget us, so that's a good comparison. So here's the Thermians and here's Saris. So Saris here, very bug-like. I don't know, is he sort of based on a cricket? I don't know.
It's like a mean grasshopper.
Yeah, sort of mantis-like.
Yeah. He's very intimidating. Very intimidating.
He is, but then you look at the Thermians and I don't know if it's the right word. They're almost like, I would say, I don't know if adorable is the right word. They're a bit you're a bit like, you feel for them. You're like, they're so innocent.
So, this naive version, they are. If you see them without, they're not as cute and as adorable. But, in this version, you can't help but feel for them that they really need help, that they're kind of pathetic.
Well, when they haven't got their sort of, I don't remember what they call it, their projector field or whatever, which makes them look human on. They're basic. Bad on me for not doing it. I should have brung a picture of them up in their other form, but they're almost like octopus, aren't they? They're octopi, octopus, what's the plural?
Yeah, they have tentacles and yeah.
Yeah, but even then, they're not gross out, ugly, make you feel sick, are they? They're still quite sort of cutesy-ish looking.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, the lady, the second from the end there, the lady, I don't know why I'm pointing with my mouse. You can't see my mouse pointer on the stream. I do apologise. But the bit when they pick Tim Allen up, when they show up at his apartment and he's collapsed on them. And that scene, I die laughing both times I've watched it when he's looking for his shoe and he's bent down and clearly they're just staring at his arse like this is their absolute this is their absolute hero. And Tim Allen's down on all fours looking for a shoe with his arse pointing up in the air. You don't get to see it as the audience watching, but you know full well that they're getting the full moon. So
yeah. Yep.
And it's like, can you guys help me look for a shoe? And they just sort of like,
yeah, turn around or look over. What's going on? Yeah.
They're so good. But that bit with the lady, getting back to the lady when she's in the car and they say she doesn't speak because she hasn't got her voice translator or whatever it's called, voice box. And she's like, I can't, I'm too dry. She does that squeal. It's just like, what's going on with that? It's so good, so good.
Yeah, they actually had to go through an alien boot camp for this. All of them had to like learn how to actually act like them and stuff like that. It's only like a 5-minute clip about it, but she said it was like the funnest time she's ever had with it.
Well, yeah. So the guy who played Mathesar, Enrico Colantoni, Okay, thanks for popping along this evening. Good to see you. Apparently, the way they speak is based on a voice exercise he learned in drama school. And so then the recording of that they were using to show the other actors, this is how we're going to want you to speak. And he wasn't aware of that initially, which is quite funny. And apparently, I think it's the guy who played Dwight in The Office. I could be wrong, but it's certainly one of them. The way they walk like that is sort of based on marionette puppets in Sci-Fi. So, and that's how they walk. That's why they walk how they walk. It's very clever. It's very well thought out. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of nods to other things, and you got to think, fair play to the guys who made this film because they really did cover all bases.
They did.
They were fantastic.
When you see them how they originally, they don't look like they have normal legs. It looks like they would slide around or whatever. So you would totally buy in that human form. They would be all stiff and not know how to work properly, so they're really smart about the choices that they made throughout the film, for sure.
And there's even the special effects in this film, the CGI, I mean, I think it's held up really well because to the best of my knowledge, they haven't gone in and remastered any of it. And considering it's 99, you can see that there was a reasonable budget spent on it at the time. So that rock monster still looks great. It's not up there with CGI of now, but it's good. Those little weird baby type monster things when they've got to go, oh Cat, what's the name of that thing they have to go get for the ship? Why has that escaped me? The ball.
Now you're making me think.
Don't worry too much. It's we just say the ball that powers the ship. Why not? But I'm
gonna think of it.
They're very cutesy, but then they're vicious little buggers when they get going. You're like, wow, they turn. It's that little limping one, the little monsters on that planet. And you're Googling it, aren't you?
I am, because it's going to bother me if I don't look it up.
That's fine. But it's that little limping injured one, and you feel sorry for him, and they all just and they eat him. Horrible little buggers.
Right? You think it's all sweet? Yeah. No, I love that scene, though.
So I'm also just going to have a quick look at the
Gornak. I don't want the Gornak.
Comments to see what we've got while you look that up.
Miners, not miners. Yeah.
Miners, not miners. Yeah. Oh, dearie me. Who have we got? I'm sure I saw something. You have to forgive me. It would help if I wasn't right at the top of the chat. That would be why I'm seeing all the chats. Again, I'm sure we read that. What's Kieran
Beryllium Sphere. Thank you. Okay.
Beryllium Spear. Thank you very much, Kat. There you go.
That was going to kill me. I had to look it up. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, probably should have wrote that down in my notes. Didn't think I'd forget that, to be fair, but there you go. I'm getting old. I'm 40 now.
I remember it. Yeah.
It happens. What's Kieran say here? Sorry, carry on.
No, go ahead. Do what Kieran said. That's fine.
She has blonde hair in the movie. I must have been distracted by a couple of things. Yeah. And Ricardo's saying Sigourney Weaver being a hot blonde is the only thing I remember about Galaxy Quest. I'll bring palps up for people to read. I ain't reading it out aloud.
Yeah.
Emma said earlier on that she didn't like Shatner in Star Trek. So there's a win for you.
Yep.
What's this part here? Let's have a look. Yeah. Jojo says he looked like a Doctor Who alien. I guess she's talking about him there. So Saras, thank you. I was just I'm losing. I swear, the older I get, the more later it gets in the evenings, the less my brain works.
I still feel like he's a mutated
come in for us,
grasshopper.
Beryllium Sphere. There you go. Cheers, Palps.
Thanks,
Cheers, Palps.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think back on the CGI, it was minimal CGI, wasn't it? I mean, things like the ship, and let's bring the ship up. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah.
The NSEA Protector 3120 or the NTE 3120. So, Kat, what's the NTE about?
not the Enterprise, because it always has, the Enterprise always has some, you know, letters before 3-1 whatever. So this one is actually just not the Enterprise, which I think is clever to put in there with that.
Well, yeah, and there were other things they did in the film, like there were certain words they didn't say because they were so worried that Paramount were going to sue them because this was so on the nose for Star Trek, and you know, so they avoided words like beam and stuff like that just because they didn't want any reason to be sued. They didn't get sued.
No, but
parodies.
Go ahead.
I was going to say parodies allowed. I'm sure, but then I don't know how your parody laws work. I don't know, but yeah, it was back to other ships. Of course, we can't bring up the NTE without showing the crack Vort, which is Saris's ship. Which that to me looks very, very Trekky. It's just got I mean, they both do.
With Saris and his ship, to me, it also has like a Klingon vibe because, you know, how their ships are, and then I don't remember the other one. That there's some kind of, what is it, I don't know, one of the ones with the pointy ears. I don't remember. I don't think it's the Vulcans. I think it's the other ones. They have like a green ship too.
The ones with the pointy ears.
It's not the Romulans or whatever.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I couldn't name you 10 aliens out of the show, but there you
go.
But
I'm just saying, like, it's very, to me, it's very Trek-like with it. But what I like with the CG with this movie is it's very practical. Like, you could tell, like, some of the, like, the ships when they're doing the flashback, you know, for the original and stuff like that, or not flashback, but, you know, they showed part of it. You can tell that's a model. And then the newer ones, it's more CGI, graphic stuff, but they have that really fine balance of whether it's makeup or, you know, something practical like a model, and then a little bit of CGI. And, you know, if you look at the movies around that time, like what was horrible CGI, like, okay, I love The Mummy Returns, but the Scorpion King, horrible CGI, right?
Oh God,
horrible. Or then you look at the Scorpion King movie, horrible CGI. That came out, what, 2 years after? So it's right in around, you know, the same kind of like time frame, stuff like that. Or what was it? The Pierce Brosnan, you know, movie with what is it? Die Another Day in 2002 or whatever.
Oh, what, where he surfs down the wave on the like wing of the bloody
it's so horrible.
That's
right. It's, you don't want to talk about it.
That hurts my soul every time I see that. I love my James Bond, and that hurts my soul.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this has it's got realistic, and you, like, again, like you said about the rock monster, you can tell it's CGI, but it's not completely out of place and horrible like some of the other ones we're talking
Rock
about.
Lobster then, when you say rock monster. Anyway, I brought this slide up.
It's a good balance,
just to show, purely to show the outfits. They're very Trekky, aren't they?
They are.
And obviously we've got Sigourney Weaver there. I don't know if I mentioned, but I love Sigourney Weaver.
No, you didn't mention it at all.
No, it's almost as bad as when we had Martin on talking about B. Cates from Gremlins, and Tim Allen there. And look, he's got the look, hasn't he? He's got the look.
Yeah.
Every detail meticulously designed in this. Even the way they interact with the fans at the convention, you know, and the way they're signing stuff. I mean, I know initially, but it's the praise. We've both certainly been to conventions. A lot of people here in this chat have, I know for a fact, and it's like I say, they're not taking the mick out of it. They're just showing it, and it's really cool to see,
because you've been there. And you know what I think of all the time is, like, you know, people saying the famous lines of Star Wars movies to the actors, and some of them you can tell visibly, like, they're so annoyed with it. And that totally reminds me of Alan Rickman when people are in line to, like, I grab Lars hammer, and he's just snatching it out of place and signing it and, like, go on to the next one because he's so sick of hearing it. But, you know, I remember standing in line for stuff, and I'm just like, oh, you can tell they are annoying. You don't know what they're saying exactly, but yeah, it's very on the news. And I have to say, I love Sam Rockwell's
grandfather's
character.
Hammer, by the sons of Warven, you shall be avenged.
Exactly. So to hear that constantly over and over, like I understand the annoyance with them.
I think the other
But
thing.
I love
Sorry,
real
carry
quick,
on.
just Sam Rockwell's character when he's literally, after he's introduced him, he goes up to him, he goes, "Hey, you guys remember me? Episode 82." He goes, "Well, I thought I could sign." So he literally sits down, puts on glasses, and acts like, "Oh yeah, I'm the man," and starts doing. What?
Well,
can I be an extra so I can do that?
But going into the development of the characters in this film a bit more, jumping back to that, when you look, Tim Allen starts off as is very arrogant, very up himself.
Yes.
He loves the limelight, even to the point that they say in the film about him doing bookings without them, because this has become, in the film, this has become their livelihood. So it feels like a betrayal to them, and
absolutely.
You look at the way they evolve as the film goes on, and Tim Allen, he does prove himself to be the captain. They're happy for him to be the captain by the end because he is heroic. He lives up to all the every part of what he's acted in the TV show Galaxy Quest. He has to become that, and he doesn't fail at it. And you can see there's that sort of blossoming romance between him and Sigourney Weaver. And I love that bit of the convention where the fans are like, in this episode I sense that there was tension, and she's like, no, and he's like and that is fandom all over, when people are, oh, I think there might be tension between these two characters, and people, the will they, won't they, and touching on that, and so good. And the way they all evolve, I mean, they do go on a journey, and it's like when Alan Rickman says the line by "grab his hammer" when that Thermian is shot, and
hit you. Oh man!
Hit him in the chest worse than it hit you. And it's when he reads the line, "I will avenge you," and it's like he has a sudden understanding for the line and the importance of that line, the line that he's sick of saying. Even when he walks out on stage at the start and they show the screen behind him with it, and he's he's rolling his eyes like that. Whereas Tim Allen walks out and he's miming, he's lip syncing to all the parts, and he's got it down, and the rest of them are just like, but another one thing that's just popped in my head as well. Another interesting thing saying about how they are on set, portrayed in the film, how they didn't get on. So Alan Rickman was not fond of Tim Allen initially on this film, because Tim Allen sort of embodied the role, and he was walking on set saying things like, "Number one, enter in the room," but he was doing it to get in character.
Right.
And it was really pissing off Alan Rickman. But Alan Rickman, once they started recording, cameras rolling and all that, was like, he found respect from him. He's like, no, he's a good actor. He's committed. Because, of course, Rickman is old school Shakespearean type actor, classically trained. And so he found a respect for Tim Allen. But it's just funny to me that sort of resentment that his character feels in the film was going on a little bit on set. So equally, they went on the same journey in real life. The same journey of resentment and whatnot was happening in real life. And life imitating art, man.
Just there you go. And I do like that they had such good chemistry, and I know that they improv some of their lines together and stuff, but you could see that they worked so well together, and it really kind of just carried over. But no, I think they're a great bunch with it, together with it. You're
What's
muted.
Delvian saying here? Yeah, no, sorry, I noticed. It does alert me now when I'm muted. It's just I ain't got my glasses. Okay. I ain't got my glasses on. Why would I wear glasses?
You're not.
I've gone to all this effort to make my room look the colour of the backdrop to fit in with the film. That's what else do I need? He says, I think the Seth MacFarlane show that Orville owes a lot to this film. Point well made. Kieran came in with Romulans there, so letting you know. Kieran's put another comment, but we will be getting to that in our notes shortly. Jumpy saying, I'm surprised they didn't release some bootleg-looking action figures alongside the movie to parody the Kenner Star Wars toys line, or did they? I'm not aware of any. Wouldn't surprise me if someone like Super 7 and Reaction put something out for these at some point. I'm not saying they have. It wouldn't surprise me if it did happen. Reading Movies saying, have to go, great listening to all. Thanks for coming along, Lewis. Thank you so much. And what's Kieran put here? Jumpy, they did produce Galaxy Quest comic books, Funko Pops, but no action figures yet. And we will go into that a little bit more. So, yeah, this is a story of, we've been through what it is, but it's a story of growth. Typecast actors trapped in a role, and they then have to become the role, and they basically save an alien race. And they all grow as people. Every one of them comes out better. I mean, the tech officer falling in love with the Thermian, and then the kiss with her, and the tentacles coming out. It's just...
Oh, that's just wrong. Oh.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Yeah.
So let me have a look. Where am I at? Right. So Kieran put something in the chat about talking about sequels and whatnot, and I have I'm going to skim over this. There is a lot here, so I'm going to skim over this because getting a sequel made for this film, they have been trying. They have tried. Yeah. It's tried, has failed. It's tried, has failed. Yeah. TV series, animated series, comic books. Yeah. There is a graphic novel, Galaxy Quest. The Journey Continues, a comic series there. So that's been done. It's out there. I can't say I've read any of it. Oh, sorry, I've just brought up the film poster and the crew there, and there you go. Wrong slide. Forgot I had that one, to be honest. But yeah, they have done that. But let's jump into what I've got here. Legacy and sequels. You have to bear with me because there's a lot here. So they proposed a sequel in 2014. But of course, when Alan Rickman died, I think it was 2016 Rickman died. When he died, they basically... The cast and crew were like, no, we don't think we can do this without Alan. It wouldn't be the same. Yeah. That said, 2021, Tim Allen said that they were working on a sequel for the film, but the kicker of it was that obviously Alan Rickman wouldn't be in it. I mean, I guess if they do it, they'll have to write his character out. They can't replace him.
No, I mean, since he's an actor anyway, they could have just said, his actual actor self died, and just,
absolutely.
and still go on an adventure and stuff. So, I mean, there's ways around it, honestly.
To say they can't replace him is perhaps wrong, but I don't think it'd be wise to recast him.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'd just say, he died, or he's somewhere, something happened to him or something.
He's retired, or he's fallen out with someone. He's gone off, whatever.
Yeah. You could do a bunch of different things, but I definitely would not recast him. That won't work.
As I've already gone over, it did inspire the comic book series and graphic novel. But Amazon, they wanted to do a Galaxy Quest series in 2015. That again was delayed after Rickman's death, revived again in 2017 by a chap called Paul Scheer. As of 2023, it was in early development for Paramount Plus. Hasn't gone anywhere. Then Simon Pegg, of Shaun of the Dead fame, Spaced, Simon Pegg, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End, Mission Impossible films. Simon Pegg got with someone called Georgia Pritchett, and they were working on a series. There's not a lot of details out there, but they said they're working on it. There's been no significant updates on that in the last 3 or 4 years. What else have we got here? God, it just goes on, and I'm rolling my mouse the wrong bloody way again. Yeah, so 2015 was when the comic strip came out. It was released by IDW Publishing, and it's a continuation of the movie's story. So if you do want a continuation, it is out there. It can be found. If you need more, it's there to be had. What else have we got? Galaxy Quest, another animated series. It was announced for Amazon Prime in 2020. Planned continuation with the original cast voicing it. Cancelled due to production issues. I guess in that one instance, that is one where if it was animated, they could possibly get a voice actor to carry off Rickman. Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it for a ton of other shows, so I could see that, getting similar with it, or, trying to imitate them. Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, it's always impressive to get the whole cast. But I mean, the most recent thing I can think of where they've got the whole cast back for an animation is the Scott Pilgrim series, because they've literally got the whole cast back of the film. And we did me and Adam Long did the Scott Pilgrim Real Impact a while back. So please do check that out if that's something that interests you. So yeah, there's lots going on. I have just skimmed through that because there is no after note after note. It's been long going, and we are getting towards the end of time for the show. But my question for you, Kat, then is, how do you feel about a sequel? Is with 25, 26 years on, do we need a sequel? Or is it best to just let it live on in graphic novels, potentially animation? Do we need a film sequel? Do we need a live action TV series?
I mean, I would have loved one years ago. Now, I think too much time has kind of gone on, where, especially with Alan Rickman being dead, I could see them doing an animated series. I'd welcome that. But I honestly don't feel like we need another, part 2 or whatever, or another one from it, just because so much time has passed. But if it's animated, I could go with it, just because you have a lot more options with the animation.
I think animation is often the safest bet when time's elapsed that much.
Yeah, I think it would be better, but I mean, that's just kind of how I would say is I don't think a live action would work for this, another live action. So it's either animated or, like you said, the comic books, like just read those.
I'm in the same boat as you. The exact same boat as you. Comic books, go for your life. Go for your life. Do as many as you want. They're comic books. Why not? Just keep going if that's what you want to do. If there's an audience for it, write it. If someone enjoys writing it and they can do it justice, happy days.
There's an animated series that I love. Absolutely love it. And there's certain things that are mentioned in the show, but they're never actually explained. They came out with a comic book after it, and they go into it and they explain it. So something that they could do, and it works really well.
Absolutely. And as for an animation, sort of Spencer there saying, "Hey Spencer, Galaxy Quest works fantastic on its own." I agree. I'm in the camp of comics never worry me. Comic book continuations, novelizations, books, go for your life. Do what you want. I mean, look, start before Disney came in, all the sequel stuff. Star Wars was out there with many a book, many a thing. The expanded EU, now known as Legends, isn't it? Whatever they put it under. Yeah, you can do what you want in that, and to a degree, if you do an animation, if you can get the remaining cast back to voice it, happy days. But you can get away with a lot because it doesn't. I always feel a movie sequel can hurt the original movie more than a cartoon or comic can. That's just my thought on it. But
I mean, even
Spencer
cartoon
says leave
sequels have
alone,
been
so
bad.
does Kieran.
But yeah, it's like I said, I think too much time has passed. But in any other form, just not live action, sure, go for it. But
I mean, heck, I just said heck. You can tell I've been around you for a long time. Even things like, look at the sort of unofficial Ghostbusters sequel, that computer game they did, which basically acted as like a sequel. Do that. You do what you want. It's all out there for you.
Absolutely.
There's so many platforms, so many formats you can continue the story on without having to, potentially. Is it fair to say a sequel can damage the original? I don't know, but it can.
I don't know about damaging the sequel, but it's more of like, that was crap. Like, we like the original better.
Yeah, it can be disappointing.
Or it'll
for the
turn
fans,
into.
can't it?
it'll be like, I've had one movie where the first movie's great, the sequel sucks, and then they came out with a third one, and you're like, it's better than the second, but it's still not that great, because they keep trying to go for it. So I mean, it's a mess sometimes when they go
Just
into it.
kind of like From Dusk Till Dawn. They did From Dusk Till Dawn 2. It was terrible. They did From Dusk Till Dawn 3, Hangman's Daughter. Great concept, better, but it was still crap.
Right, exactly.
Some things don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, they did a computer game as a sequel. So
I believe this comment from Pelp, 100%.
JJ would get a Galaxy Quest reboot off the ground. Oh God.
Yeah, he
Oh
would.
no.
Yeah, he would.
Are we talking JJ Abrams? Is that what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so. That's the only JJ I know.
No, it's all good. So yeah, Galaxy Quest. Thank you for bringing it into my life, Kat. I love it. I like it a lot. Very good film.
Listen, every so often, Rafi will look at me and he gets all serious and he goes, "Mom," he goes, you don't remember." Because I'll say something. "Oh, I just want to give up." And he goes, "Never give up, never surrender, Mom." "Oh, okay, thanks, honey." So it's forever just around now. So like, I will tell him, I'm like, "Hey honey," I was like, "you do know who Buzz Lightyear is, right?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "Close your eyes and I'll put that movie on." He goes, "Oh, he's Buzz Lightyear." But he absolutely just loves them. Like, you can't go wrong with this movie, honestly.
No, excellent movie. I'm just looking through, I haven't had to use any of my backup questions or facts. We've managed to fill the hour and a half quite easily on this one. I just want to say a massive thank you to the live chat, the audience, your participation. We appreciate all your comments. We can't possibly bring them all up or read them all up, but we do appreciate them, and we appreciate that you do it. We appreciate you here for us. Real Impact will be back again soon. I'm just working on who the next guest is. If they don't pan out, Kat, you're doing another one with me. So get that in your diary.
Okay. Just let me know.
It's my turn next time.
Don't we have one next week?
I am getting to it. So.
Okay.
I'm selfishly promoting me, and then I'm going to let you go to town. Saturday night, me and Monkey Boy, because we promised you all live moderately entertaining on Saturday when this was initially cancelled, and then I had a power cut. We feel it's only fair to give you that live moderately entertaining. So me and Monkey Boy will be doing that on Saturday evening. More random chaos with me and Monkey Boy. What can I say? So if you can make it for that, excellent. And a week Saturday, me and Kat are joined by a guest. I am bringing back the Action Popcast, my original podcast. I'm bringing in Kat. I'm bringing in I'm going to tell people it's Georgie. It's Georgie from Universal Toy Collector. We've got a great subject. It's not movies. A great subject. Very now, but very past. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna do another episode of the Action Popcast podcast. So looking forward to. As to how regular I will do them, I don't know. But when a subject comes up that takes my fancy, and I've got the right guests, we will do one. So that will be that. Kat.
Yes.
Why am I tapping my head? Have you got anything coming up? What have you got coming up?
Yes. Saturday, me and Leslie have our second lady stream show on Saturday. We're going to be going over a few 80s movies about how we saw them back then and how they're kind of taken now. And we have 2 special guests with us, so please come and watch that as well.
Excellent. And I will say, I think everyone here is following Kat, but if anyone is watching who doesn't, just go into the description of this stream or video on YouTube, and you can find links to Kat's channel. If you haven't already and you liked this, stick a like on this if you would, because it does help. If you're not subscribed, if you fancy giving me a sub, that'd be great, because it's the slow climb to maybe one day get to 1,000 in 5-10 years time, but all we can do is try. Again, you guys have been absolutely excellent. I have to say a quick hello to Travels and More with Jason, who popped in, came in under the radar. guys, you've been excellent. Kat, you've been excellent. I guess the only thing I can say is the cheesiest thing I can say before I sign us off. And I think you know what I'm going to say, don't you, Kat?
Never give up, never surrender.
Absolutely. So, and on that note, I'm gonna play the outro video and I'm gonna end this stream. I'll catch you all again on the next one, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Guys.